Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another show with the Produce Moms Podcast. My name is Lori Taylor. As always, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to host this show. And I love this show. I love the fact that we get to bring on folks that are truly making a difference in the world through their work. And like every guest that we bring onto this show, everyone is committed to getting more fruits and vegetables on every table. And today we have an incredible woman. She is the co-founder and chief growth officer of Feed Forward. Feed Forward is an organization that's on a mission to be a catalyst to a better food future. They're empowering a healthy, sustainable, and fair food economy. And this is all done through innovative programs, products, consultancy, and more. So it's going to be a true pleasure of an episode today with Meg Savage. And Meg, welcome to the show. We're really glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Lori. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. And, you know, we should go ahead and say how we came connected. So we are both on the pathway. Our organizations are both on the pathway to becoming B Corp certified. And this is Meg and Feed Forward. They are the first organization of what I hope is many that have come our way through this B Corp network and just wonderful community. And we will, in episodes to come, certainly share more about B Corp and what it means, but look for Feed Forward to certify soon. And hey, hopefully the Produce Moms too. We're both on our way.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
But Meg, truly, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you to Carrie, who introduced us both. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about your professional background and what led you to being the co-founder of Feed Forward.
Sure. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. My professional background is in media, business development, and what I like to call my quote unquote past life. I was in corporate America. I worked at Hearst Corporation, Sotheby's, Condé Nast, all in global marketing and even some experiential business development positions. And while I was working, actually, I came down with an autoimmune condition or discovered an autoimmune condition, which completely changed my way that I eat and look at food. It took me a very long time to get a diagnosis. And ironically, what I needed to do most was change the way that I eat, my relationship with food. And I realized that I very much had a privilege in order to get that education. And ever since then, I completely changed the way that I'm working. I'm working in food innovation, working in ways to get better access, better quality food, better access options, et cetera, to all communities, not only food insecure ones, but everyone across the board, because
Sure.
there's a lot of changes that need to be implemented. So that's what brought me into food innovation and this space. And Feed Forward, particularly, I started with my co-founders, Liz Peralta, Foxwell, and Winston Chiu, who Winston and I have known each other for a number of years, both in the food innovation space, but he's an actuary by trade who left his quote unquote past life as an actuary to be a chef. And Liz actually has a really, really great experience, not only working within the community. She's actually used to be a historian, but she's very passionate about food insecurity, having experienced it herself as a young child. And the three of us actually came together during COVID, serendipitously through Feeding New Yorkers with a nonprofit that we were involved in. And we decided, hey, someone needs to be doing this and aligning technology and innovation with the actual food needs of our communities. And that's how Feed Forward was born.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like so many founder stories, Meg, yours is also rooted in identifying a void or an opportunity from your own personal life.
Yep.
And I love that. And my founder story is certainly very much the same with the produce moms. And man, so many of the amazing founders and entrepreneurs we have, had the spotlight on through this program alone. Gosh, I would say over 95% of these founder stories are rooted in that personal, just challenge or tragedy or turmoil where you're like, okay, not only am I going to improve my life, but I'm actually going to create something that can improve everyone's lives. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So amazing. Well, we have to dive a little bit deeper into what is Feed Forward. So please explain this to us because, the mission and the work that you do that I teed up in the intro remarks, pretty abstract and can certainly, that can all cover a lot of things. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's a catalyst for a better future. We can rally around that, but tell us what it is that you do.
So we are a food impact agency. So we align technology and innovations with the food needs of our communities. So that could be anything from implementing programs to help secure better food access for food insecure individuals, all the way over to getting better food into supermarkets, and creating meal kits under the umbrella as food is medicine. Essentially, we view ourselves as the bridge makers and the connectors. I have a huge background with food innovation and technology. So essentially, we're just using our network and the community in order to make these things happen. So we work within 3 verticals. One is programs. So we create actual programs that we feel should exist and don't currently exist. And I'll get into that a little later on with our More Than a Meal program. Then there's products. We work with specific tech products. We utilize blockchain to make food supply chain more sustainable, traceable, and affordable, most importantly. We work with a number of different applications in tech to make food as medicine more accessible to various different clients, whether that be communities or even different corporations who are experimenting with having that be a benefit for their employees. And then last, there's consultancy, where we work with organizations big and small on how they can contribute to a better food system, and whether it's how they can be giving back to their community, or on the flip side of that, actually making their operations more sustainable and better quality food and ingredients going to the communities that need it most.
Yeah, very important. I love the multifaceted approach here. It's not, it's not just programs. It's not just products. It's not just consultancy. It's all of those. And I imagine that a lot of your successes, you can identify how they've participated in all 3 of those pillars or verticals.
Oh, and they end up, it's funny, like we'll have a client in our consultancy who wants to be a part of one of the programs that we've developed and wants to either sponsor it or have the More Than a Meal program be a part of something they're doing. So ironically, all the verticals end up touching each other at some way, shape, or form as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that kind of goes back to, just like the food culture overall. Like if we want to build a better food future, gosh, there's so much that goes into food. It's, I mean, we say it often on this broadcast, Meg, food is culture, food it is so much of how all of us are alike. It is so much of how all of us create our own personal traditions and cultures within our own families or microsystems. And it's also this great magnetic thread that connects all of humanity. So it's, it's a wonderful thing to hear about what you're doing. And you've mentioned a couple times now the More Than a Meal program. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about that, please, Meg.
Yeah, of course. So More Than a Meal program, we actually debuted just this past summer, 2021. So like I said before, me and my other co-founders met, really came together during the height of COVID, and we were feeding food insecure New Yorkers. And what we realized is, while there are resources for food insecure individuals and families like community-based organizations or soup kitchens or pantries, there needs to be more. I mean, I'm sure everyone that's listening saw on the news lines that went for blocks and blocks and blocks, and people being turned away. We thought that there had to be better, and we could do better. And one of the first things we did when we founded Feed Forward was to create a technology that matches food insecure individuals and their families with nourishment, meaning meals or groceries from within their own communities. So what does that mean? So hypothetically, Lori, if you were food insecure or in need of a meal, you could register for our program. You would be matched with restaurants or grocery stores from within your local community, walking distance to your home. And you could then select a meal, order one like you would on any other food ordering platform that you're used to. So you could pick a restaurant that's near to you, select a meal and go and pick it up and have a dignified experience, one that's also culturally appropriate. You're getting food that you know that you can eat, which is a huge issue in food insecurity. So much goes to waste when the meal isn't right for the community that it's being distributed to.
Yes.
So it's culturally appropriate. It's dietary appropriate. You can actually select, like I say, you have a health condition or whatnot. And I mean, when you're going to a pantry or to a soup kitchen, you don't really have that choice. And also, it's also time saving. So a lot of people who are in this situation, whether they're looking to overcome certain obstacles and need that support, and time is so valuable. So instead of sending someone who's wasting their day standing on a line waiting for food they don't know if they're actually going to eat or even get, now they actually have this opportunity to go around the corner from them, pick up a meal, and actually have the opportunity to connect with their community and also do what they need to do to get to a place where they're not in need of this program.
Right. No, it's amazing. And this More Than a Meal program, is that localized to New York City and the boroughs of New York, or is it?
Correct. Right now we're just in the 5 boroughs of New York, but we are looking to expand to other areas of New York and also throughout the country in 2022.
Great. So it's a replicable model that you guys are looking forward to expanding. That's wonderful to know. No, it's great. So what do you want everyday consumers to know about Feed Forward? I mean, how can the person who's listening to this show that's shopping at their local grocer, how can they be part of this movement and be part of what you all are doing?
Awesome. Yes, I love that. You can go to our website, feedforward, FWD, feedfwd.com. And we have a get involved button there where we would love to hear from you. But from your everyday experiences, whether it's shopping at your supermarket, I mean, you'll see the Feed Forward logo actually in the frozen food section coming soon, because we're working on a lot of blockchain backed seafood supply. And, that's going to be coming out in a number of grocery stores here in New York City and possibly out into Long Island, hopefully soon, where if you're purchasing those products, you'll be actually a portion of the cost of that is actually going to go back to programs like More Than a Meal and feeding your local community. So that's something that very simple, like if you're in the frozen food section and you see Feed Forward's label or More Than a Meal, you can know that by purchasing that, you're getting the highest quality food that's also going to be giving back to your local community. So that at the very simplest can be one thing that you do, but we are looking for volunteers. We're looking for More Than a Meal is a fundraised program. But on the flip side of that, if you are involved with anything in food innovation, whether it is like blockchain supply or different ways of growing food, hydroponics, aquaponics, anything that's touching our food system like CPG, we would love to hear from you and love to work with you. So it takes a village. It's going to take us all to work together to get the food system in a place where we really need it to be.
Yeah, that's so true. And one thing too that I'd like to just add on to those wonderful remarks from Meg is, as a consumer, if you don't understand some of the stuff that we're discussing today on this show, like if you don't really understand what sustainability is, traceability is, the way that the food industry, why do we even have blockchain technologies? Those are all things that first and foremost, do what you can to get educated on. We have standalone episodes in our podcast library that touch on each of these topics, but it is important that, great ideas can only go so far with market access as well as consumer demand. So as a shopper, you can ensure ongoing market access from programs such as, what Meg's discussing with Feed Forward. They will continue to have their product and programming on shelf at grocery retail if we as shoppers continue to demand that our foods are healthier, traceable, sustainable, and socially conscious. Those are all things that we can help control the movement by demanding that our food products, take on these values and become more than nourishment, but also that force for good.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more, Lori. And I'm a mom myself. I have two small kids at home. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I'm out there, not only from my own experience of having my autoimmune condition and completely changing the way that I eat. I look at them and what they're served at their lunches at school, or what's available in our local supermarket, or what's even being presented to them, whether it's in media or books or anything like that. And I think just us all coming together to realize and just be these small changes that we can do actually yield big results. So just being even more conscious about where our food is coming from, what we're serving our children and at home and our families, but then also being more cognizant on the bigger scale of these small things that I can be doing every day actually make a really large impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm going to lay it on just because, Meg, you teed it up. Yeah. Every time we're serving food to children, we need to make sure that fruits and vegetables are part of that occasion. And so this has been an incredible episode with you, Meg. I've enjoyed learning, scratching the surface, but at the same time, a deep dive into Feed Forward and what it stands for. And it's amazing too. I know this from our pre-show conversations. Despite this incredible impact and growth that you've had, your business is still a baby. Mm-hmm. So tell folks a little bit more about when you started. I don't know if we covered that.
Yeah, no. So Feed Forward, we just were founded in April of 2021. So we're about
amazing
6 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done a lot in a short time. And yeah, really the future is bright. We are very excited for what's to come and what the groundwork that we've laid, but yeah, we are still a little bit of a baby.
Yeah. Well, and hey, everyone with us today, imagine where this great company and organization is going to be a year from now. Meg, it's been a true pleasure to have you on as our guest. All of our guests get the final word. So any closing remarks that you might have, any closing thoughts, final takeaways that you want our listeners to have, now's the time. You get the mic. But before I pass it to you for those closing remarks, I just want to thank everyone for being with us today. Your participation in this podcast as our listeners is the only reason that we can continue to do this week after week. So thank you very much for your role in this great program. I so believe in what we do and the stories that we're able to spotlight here on the Produce Moms podcast. And please do check out feedforward.com. Again, that's FEEDFWD.com to learn more about the work that Meg, her co-founders, and everyone at Feed Forward is doing. And Meg, with that, closing remarks, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Lori. I think if there's something I just want to stress most, and I know I'm reiterating a little bit what I said before, but it really takes all of us together to feed our food future forward. And that's essentially these changes that need to happen. We all just need to be a little bit more cognizant and make whether it's a tiny change in the way that we're purchasing food, or if it's something that you're involved with actually food or innovation and technology and want to learn more, please contact me. My email is megs@feedfwd.com. I would love to hear from you. And I wish everyone well. And thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.